You know what I hate? I hate those action RPGs where, you know, you get some nice loot. There's like 1,000 fucking rainbow colors of shit on the ground, and you have to sift through it with your fucking sniffer dog, and you finally found one item that you can even equip, and the fucking thing has the wrong elemental buff stats or the wrong this or the wrong that. It's fucking shocking how frequent this shit is. They're like those do not come games. That's what they're like, because the purpose of those games is don't come, and you're not going to come when you're playing an action RPG, because you're never finding an item that actually fucking does what you fucking want it to do. Instead, you're finding a fucking Skinner box gambling roulette slot machine. You're jacking the fucking robot off so goddamn hard, just for the desperate hope that, maybe I won't have to interact with another human being to find items for my build. But no, you're wrong. If you want to actually get items for your build, at least if you're playing like Path of Exile, that's like one of the big three. The other one is like Diablo. But like both those games have inherently dog shit systems, because in Diablo, it's just a mindless number go up simulator. Diablo 3 should honestly be replaced by like an idle game, because that's what it is. That's all really it comes down to, is number go up. And that's not satisfying or fun. There isn't really interesting build choices, because you can just do any build. And I usually love when games have free respecs, but the problem in Diablo is that every stat or every skill is balanced around what the developers chose, which sounds really fucking stupid to say, because obviously the developers chose to balance certain things in certain ways. But what I mean by that is that there is no way to invest in certain things to overcome a developer's ignorance of how something should be. I mean, I don't even know what the balance of the game is. The game's been shittily balanced for at least fucking, 75% of the game's creation. Because if you go on the wizard, almost all the wizard skills do an insane amount of weapon DPS converted damage. You go on the girl with the double bang bang bang, that lady, her skills do fucking pathetic amounts of damage. It's actually, and there are a lot of them times they're not even AoE. Almost all the fucking wizards characters are AoE. Like I played the sorcerer wizard lady the first time I played Diablo 3. How the fuck could anyone have fun playing any other class? They do so little damage. How do you see? This is what I mean. Because the developers decided what a skill's raw scaling will be, there's nothing else that it can input it. You can't go in and be like, I'm going to invest 45 stocks of Dogecoin so I can send out a bunch of Shiba dogs at the enemy. No, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. You can't overcome the developer's ignorance. That's why Diablo 3 sucks. On the other end, though, you have Path of Exile, which is like, oh my god, you have so much creative freedom. But you really don't. The fact of the matter is, you don't have that much creative freedom in Path of Exile, because 90% of your shit's gonna be like fucking DPS tank shit, and you're still gonna get one shot. You're gonna get one shot by an enemy off screen who stuttered your game for 0.04 microseconds, and then that caused your reaction time to be even more reduced, and then you died. And I don't understand why in Path of Exile all the potions just aren't instant, given how bullshit the game is. Like, I've played probably hundreds of hours in Path of Exile, and it's one of the most bullshit hardcore game experiences. I probably 90% of those hours are on hardcore, and it's just lame as hell. Like, it's unbelievable. But that aside, the items in the game are the worst part. And they actually kind of tried to correct this by going towards the ideal system. So you have Diablo, where like the only stats are, it's like a mobile game. It's like DPS, defense, and other. And the other stat is just fucking nothing. It doesn't do anything at all. And that's how fucking simply Diablo is. Diablo 3 really is the mobile game of ARPGs. But then you have Path of Exile, where you're going through all these fucking rainbow colored items, and most of them fucking suck dick. But then you also have to pay attention to the certain gray items that might have certain slot socket combinations to get a chromatic, so that you can finally get 45 chromatics, so that you can finally just craft the thing that you want. But that's my problem. is that like there's like the system that started in Path of Exile is so fucking esoteric and requires such arcane knowledge and all this shit that like there's nothing inherently understandable about it. You have to go and like look up shit. You know, you can't figure it out on your own, which is a sign of a flawed implementation. If you cannot figure out the material of a system in the game, that's a problem. Anyway, the bigger part though is like items just have random shit on them, shit that doesn't fucking matter. Or you might have something that's like almost perfect, but one thing might be wrong. And then they have like a million different ways that you can roll the items. Just keep it simple, stupid. You know, Path of Exile's tried to fix this. So like now you might get an item that's pretty good, but there's like 45 different craftspeople and you got to do 45 different hand job quests a day to fucking make them happy enough so that you can augment 1% of a stat to make it go up or down somewhere so your item is like a little less shit. Here's the fucking ideal system. The ideal system is you know, enemies still drop fucking shit, right? Of course they're still gonna drop random shit, but when you kill those rare enemies, when you kill those boss enemies or whatever, you know, bosses are one-time spawns, and then the rare enemies, you just gotta run around the world, you find the rare enemies, you kill them, and then they drop this currency. There's one fucking currency in the game, okay? One crafting currency, and it's non-tradable. Get fucked. But there's gold, so you could pay somebody to craft your shit for you. You know, so there's gold, and then there's this non-tradable craft currency, and you use the craft currency to the psionic forge of fucking Elder Titan, Jim Bob Fiddledorks, and you know he's a robot man who died, and his soul is trapped inside a permanently robot blacksmith armor man, and he makes your armor better, and you take it to him, and you're like, what kind of augments would I like today? Perhaps I'll go with health, you know, and you can, and you have a loadout of all the fucking augments that an item can have, and it's like, oh, you put this on there, you put that on there, and you're investing in your equipment, and the percent value increase on the equipment. It's not random. We're not doing that random fucking bullshit. If you put RNG in your game in an unfun way, get fucked. I've played Epic 7. I know how bad. I know how a good game can be ruined by gear RNG. That's the fucking worst. 99.9% of all gear in that game is unusable trash. So, instead, let's say you have a caster chest piece. And, you know, there are in-class augments you can put on it. And they're at a discounted cost. You want to put on an energy shield? Oh, yeah. That's going to be like fucking 50% off. You want to put on something outside that caster chest? You want to augment? You want to put on like dexterity? That's going to cost you. It's going to be maybe 120%. You know, same thing with like putting on strength. And I think this system could really work because think about it, you know, let's say you have a hybrid piece. That would make hybrid pieces pretty good, because one of the things in Path of Exile is that people talk about is that hybridization is dog shit. Maybe I'm wrong, but back in my day, if you had a hybrid build, there's one hybrid build that was energy shield grace mix, where you have the evasion converted to armor. That was like the one hybrid build, I think. Hybrid builds in Path of Exile suck. So in this way, let's say you get an energy shield evasion mixed piece of armor. Now suddenly, oh hey, when I'm picking any augments for my shit on my chest piece or whatever, oh, they're 50% off. Wow. It's almost like I want to go hybrid. I can pay a lower cost to improve my gear. Why the fuck wouldn't I want to do that? That's fucking awesome, you know? And there's nothing against going, you know, main stat thing, because you can still stack one stat and be really strong. You know, we can balance the game around that. But we want to make it so that hybridization isn't completely shit on like in 99.9% of all fucking games of all time, you know? So, and also at the end of the day, this is just a matter of the cost to upgrade the piece of gear, you know? And obviously, that's a part where you balance the grind. The grind is balanced against you found a eye level 139 white chess piece and you're going to go to town on it. Or maybe you found an eye level whatever chess piece and maybe you can use the currency to convert one of the augments on it to something else. And maybe that takes more because you're already converting, you're already like working with something that already has stats ideally that you want on it. But I think that would be the best action RPG way to do gear, is that I kill a rare mob, I get these fucking glowing orbs along with some gold and maybe some fucking random gear, and then I can take that gear and just go fucking turn it into what I want it to be. And then that's it. And then rather than grinding for endlessly for random worthless shit, having to look through the garbage pile of random fucking garbage in the game, having to type in a fucking code to see the eye level on the gear, make that shit available and then be like, hey, oh wow, I'm using a chess piece, 134, but this one, wow, 157? Damn, and then the 157 one's going to have higher percentages on all the augments I put on and higher base things. Man, I should divest my current piece and invest in this new one. So then you start the grind over again. So like, let's say you deconstruct it and you get like, half of your investment back. But you got to think, oh, half my investment back. Well, that's not so bad. But then this new piece, the cost's going to be a little higher. So you got to get out there and you got to grind more guys, so that you can get the fucking magical blue jizz orbs to invest in your piece of gear. I don't think I can ever play an action RPG again because I've just come up with the best action RPG armor upgrade system that any human has ever come up with. And now, why would I ever want to play any shittier or lesser version of that, really, honestly? I mean, just think about it. And this also psychologically matches the most engagement, the most feeling good engagement. So in psychology, when it comes to gambling and things like that, there's this random reward interval. There's all sorts of types of different reward interval schemes. Random is the one that creates the most desperation, which leads to spending, but is not the one that is satisfactory for the end user. So if you see a random reward interval where you don't know when you're going to get a new piece of gear and you don't know if it's going to be good or not, dogshit system, and it's just there to exploit your vulnerability to gambling bullshit. So like current World of Warcraft, and basically any action RPG game and pretty much every like gacha mobile game, things like that. All random reward interval bullshit. Now they will work in some consistent rewards, but the consistent rewards will always be fucking like, drip feed dog shit compared to the great random rewards that you're waiting for. In contrast to that, you have a consistent reward system. And a consistent reward system is something like Wrath of the Lich King in World of Warcraft. So near the end of the expansion, they had frost badges, and you needed frost badges to buy, vendor from Gears that was, higher item level, and you got those on a consistent basis. Same thing with dungeon badges. You got those on a consistent basis as well. So you can do a dungeon and, once a day, if you do the special dungeon, you'll get 5 frost badges. And then, when you do the raid, you'll get frost badges for every boss you kill. And, but you can get the regular dungeon badges and you can use that to gear up earlier. But like, you can do a dungeon, you can have a chance for some RNG items, but every boss has their own loot table. But additionally, you're always getting a consistent resource that you can eventually use if your luck hasn't been on your side, to buy, side grades or alternative upgrades that maybe if the dungeon just isn't giving you the item that you want, you have an outlet for something alternative. Now that's a blending of the systems, but it's still a consistent reward base where you know when it's going to happen, you know what you're going to get, and you know when you're going to get it. And that's the system that I prefer because I don't like to be exploited and made frustrated because, oh, I got this new item, but oh, it's the shittiest rolls on the item. Well, I guess I'll have to do the dungeon again. And then, because like I never get excited when I get a piece of gear in World of Warcraft. The last times I've played, I never get excited. Actually, what I get is I get disappointed because I did a dungeon. I remember I did one dungeon about, I think, like 10 times because the LFG just only ever gave me this dungeon. I have no idea why. It was in fucking Battle for Azeroth. Big fat shit. Big fat ass shit. And I got the same chess piece, I think, 10 times. And every time it had the same stats. And there was like little to no variation, I think. And I was like, how lame is this? This is what you got rid of, like, boss loot for this? The reason you got rid of boss loot is because you just wanted to be lazy with how you implemented loot. So you just put one piece of loot in the whole dungeon. It was fucking unreal. I couldn't believe it. How frequently I got that one fucking item. It soured the entire experience for me. I was like, what? Does anyone that makes the game play it? Like, are they just all fucking gambling addicts? I don't know. Like, if you like these systems, seek some help. You need help because these are not systems that respect you at all. They just want to take all the time out of your life so that you can pour it into this fucking stupid, roulette, jack off the roulette machine, jacking it every day just so I can get the dopamine when I get the good item. And I personally, it doesn't affect, I never feel good when I get a good item. What I feel is relief that I can finally I can feel good at the build that I'm going. When I finally get an item that matches my build, I get a little bit of relief. I feel like my dick's been tortured and my torture has left the room for maybe to go take a piss break. And that's the kind of relief that I feel in these shitty systems. And if you disagree with me, you're a fucking moron. And get fucked. Okay, bye.